This is a story called The Kids Who Chose to Be Cool Instead of Choosing to Be Safe. It's the summertime and all the kids have broken up from school for the summer holidays. One day a few 10-year-old boys are out riding their bikes when they see some older boys who are on their bikes doing stunts without a safety helmet on, and one of them, Harry, says, "Hey guys, look at them bigger boys, I bet we could do that. Come on, let's try it." They all tried it, but none of them could do it at first, but they kept trying and eventually they all did it. After that they kept copying any older boys they saw doing tricks. One day all their mums, who were all close friends, were out shopping and having a coffee together. When they saw their kids doing dangerous stunts on their bikes, they went over to them and Harry's mum, Donna, said to them, "What on earth do you boys think you're doing?" "We were only pulling stunts, Mum. The bigger boys do it and we thought we'd do it. Besides, it's cool," said Harry. "Do you boys have any idea how dangerous that is? You're not even wearing an helmet." "How many times have we told you to wear an helmet?" said George's mum. "Mum, if we wear an helmet, everyone will laugh at us because it's not cool to wear an helmet," said George. "So you're telling me, George, that you'd rather be cool than safe?" "Well, yeah, Mum. None of the other kids ever wear helmets, so why should we?" "So you'd rather be cool than safe?" "Yeah, Mum. You have two choices, George. You either put your helmet on, or I take your bike away from you. Take your pick, George." I'm not wearing an helmet. That's so uncool." "Well, in that case, George, I'm taking your bike." "No, you're not, Mum." "Well, put your helmet on. The same goes for the rest of you." The boys put their helmets on, but as soon as their mums were out of sight, they took them off. They did this every time they went on their bikes. However, one day their parents saw them again and took away their bikes. Excuse me. This time Isaac's dad sat them down together and said to them, "Why do you boys keep riding your bikes and doing dangerous stunts without helmets on? You shouldn't be doing dangerous stunts at all, even with an helmet on. You could kill yourself." "Oh, don't be silly, Dad. People don't die by doing dangerous stunts whether they're wearing an helmet or not. Besides, it's not cool to wear an helmet, Dad." "Oh, silly am I? Well, let's see how silly you think I am when I tell you what I'm about to tell you." "What are you about to tell us, Dad?" "You've all lost your bikes until you're willing to stay safe by wearing an helmet." "Oh, come on, Dad, that's not fair." "Well, are you all going to wear your helmets? We haven't got a choice, have we?" Every day after that, the boys left home wearing their helmets. However, as soon as they got away from home, they took them off. One day, Isaac lifted up the front wheel of his bike and tried balancing on his back wheel. However, his bike slipped, sending him flying backwards. He landed on the back of his head and knocked himself out. He was rushed to hospital suffering with serious head injuries, a broken back, arm and leg, and a fractured skull. He was in a coma and the doctors treated his injuries. However, they didn't think he would survive the night and they said that the next 24 hours would be crucial. Isaac remained in a coma for 2 weeks. When he came round, thankfully he wasn't brain damaged, but he had no feeling from the waist down. The doctors said that there was a strong chance that he might never walk again. A few days after the kids went back to school, their headmaster, Mr. Weatherby, gave a special assembly. He said to the kids, "I need you all to listen to what I'm about to say and to take notice of what I say. 2 weeks ago, Isaac Barlow was out riding his bike with some of his friends when he had a serious accident. You see, he thought that it wasn't cool to wear an helmet and now he might never walk again. I need to tell you all just how dangerous it is not to wear an helmet. It might not be cool to wear an helmet, but helmets are designed to keep you safe and they save lives. This is why you should always wear an helmet. Whether you are riding your bike, scooter, skateboard or roller skates, you should always wear an helmet, whether you think it's cool or not." Excuse me. After Mr. Weatherby had finished talking, he gave all the teachers leaflets to give out to the kids about staying safe. A few weeks after Isaac's accident, he was well enough to go home. Thankfully, by this time, he'd regained the feeling in his legs, and once the cast was off his broken leg, he was able to walk normally. After his accident, he wore his helmet all the time, and so did his friends. The older boys that they'd copied had no idea that they were copying them, and when they found out, they were quite upset and apologetic. About a year after Isaac's accident, excuse me, 2 little girls, Amelia and Emily, both aged 8, had seen some teenagers setting fire to some papers on purpose, and they decided that they wanted to do it too. They thought it looked like a cool thing to do, especially as the teenagers were drinking and having loads of fun. One day, Amelia took her mum's matches that she used to light her cigarettes with. She took them out with her even though she knew not to play with matches. Her and Emily set off to the field where they'd seen the teenagers partying round a fire and having loads of fun. They found some sticks and they were about to light them when someone grabbed their hands and snatched the matches off them. When they turned round, it was their older sisters who were best friends. Amelia's sister said to them, "What on earth do you two think you're doing? We were only going to have a bonfire party like you and your friends were doing yesterday. You looked like you were having loads of fun," said Amelia. "There were adults there, Amelia, so we were supervised. We would never have lit a fire without adults there, Amelia, because it's too dangerous," said Amelia's sister Bella. "Yeah, but you were drinking and having lots of fun," said Emily. "We weren't drinking, we were pretending. It was part of our drama performance that we're doing. You know that we do drama after school on a Friday. Besides, you know it's dangerous to play with matches," said Emily's sister Leah. When they went home, both Leah and Bella told their parents what they'd caught the girls doing. They were both grounded and sent to bed early. However, the girls didn't learn their lesson because as soon as they were allowed out again, they took some more matches from Amelia's house, as Amelia had seen where her mum had hid them. This time they went to a different field, but it was a really windy day, and as soon as they lit the fire, the wind blew it towards them, almost setting them on fire. They thought this was really funny and they were about to put some more stuff on the fire when someone came up and poured water on it and died it out. Then Amelia's dad said to them, "Did you girls not listen to a word we said to you when we told you how dangerous it is to play with matches?" The girls just laughed and then Amelia's dad said, "Oh, you think it's funny, do you? Will you think it's funny when you get burnt alive?" The girls just laughed all the more. Excuse me. Their dads took them home and again they were grounded and sent to bed early. Once they were allowed out again, they stole some more matches. Once again it was a really windy day, but this time they weren't so lucky. When the wind blew, it blew the flames in their direction, setting them both on fire. Thankfully, passers-by heard them screaming and called an ambulance. Two of them knew the girls and their parents, and they rang their parents to let them know what had happened. When they arrived, the girls were being put in the ambulance and their mums travelled with them. Their dads followed behind in their cars and met them at the hospital. Emily suffered serious burns to her arms and neck, but unfortunately Amelia had more serious burns covering her arms, legs and neck, and she was in a critical condition. She had to be resuscitated both on the ambulance and in the hospital. The doctors didn't think that she'd survive the night and they told her parents to prepare for the worst. However, just like Isaac, she fought to stay alive. Although the doctor had put her in an induced coma, she was stable but still critical. Once the swelling in Amelia's throat had gone down, and once she was stable enough, the doctors brought her out of the coma. They took away her breathing tube to see if she could breathe unaided. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to do that, so the doctors put her back on the breathing tube. A few days later, the doctors tried again, and thankfully she was able to breathe on her own. However, she was still on the critical list, but she was stable. Over the next few days, she'd improved enough to be moved out of intensive care into the burns unit. On the way to the burns unit, she suddenly took a turn for the worse, and the doctor had to resuscitate her again. Once she was on the burns unit, she was fine and she was talking, but the pain relief she was on made her very sleepy and she kept falling asleep. Her mum never left her side except to use the toilet. She even slept in the bedside chair night after night, meaning she didn't get much sleep. In the end, the staff made her go home to get some sleep, and Amelia's dad stayed with her for a while. After Amelia had been in hospital for about 2 weeks, she started having operations on her burns. She had a long way to go before she was well enough to go home. When the school heard what had happened, once again the headmaster, Mr. Weatherby, got all the kids into the assembly hall and he said to them, "I've got you all here because of what happened to Amelia Cox and Emily Raymond. You may already know that these two little girls were set on fire after playing with matches and lighting a fire. Well, I just want to say to you all that you must never ever play with matches or lighters or anything else that can be used to light fires with. You must also never ever light fires. You may think it's cool and fun to play with things that can cause fires and to light fires, but believe me, it's not. Both Amelia and Emily could have been killed. Now they are both scarred for life. Amelia is still in hospital and she's still really poorly, all because they played with matches and lit a fire. Now kids, let what happened to Amelia and Emily be a lesson to you. Mr. Weatherby left leaflets with all the teachers about what he talked about. Over time, Amelia got better and better, and after 6 weeks in hospital, she was finally allowed to go home. However, she still had a long way to go and a lot of operations to go, but she was happy to be going home. After she'd been home for 2 weeks, she was able to go back to school, and with a little bit of help she was able to catch up on the work she'd missed. After having several operations, the doctors told her that she didn't have to have many more, but she still had to go to the hospital so they could keep an eye on her burns. After about 18 months after her accident, Amelia was told that her burns were now completely healed. The doctor told her that she didn't have to go back to the hospital again. As Emily's burns were nowhere near as bad as Amelia's, she only stayed in hospital for 2 weeks, and she only had to go back to the hospital a few times. After their accident, the girls learnt their lesson, and they never played with matches or anything else that could cause fire, and they never lit fires again, ever. The end. Thanks for listening, guys. See you later. Love yous. Bye.